The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
We have not been able to locate the child as of yet. We are in contact with the mom, but we've not been able to determine the whereabouts of the 9-year-old.
We want answers! We want answers!
The route revealed. Detectives releasing brand new information about the road trip that led to Melodee Buzzard's disappearance. Plus, was she trafficked or killed? Our investigators are weighing in on what could have happened to the 9-year-old. Plus, from anchor to arrested, a former St. Louis news anchor charged with murdering her own mom. Also this hour, we've got eyes now on mother Rebecca Harrow as her husband is sentenced for the murder of their son, little baby Emmanuel. So will we find out where his remains are? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Tuesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? It is that time where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. And we've got a big show to kick things off. Grab that cup of coffee right now. It's time for my opening statement. Are there no more lawyers left for Sarah Boone? Did she drive them all away? Judging by her behavior, I think she might have. I think there may not be any more lawyers left in the state of Florida who are willing to represent her. After lawyer number 12 departed, things are in limbo, according to Ms. Boone, as she just penned another letter, that's right, yet another letter to the court asking who her next attorney is. Lucky number 13. And asking what is the status of her case on appeal. Those questions are valid if you're convicted killer Sarah Boone and you're still trying to blame everyone else for your crimes. But the question that I have is, when will she finally stop torturing these attorneys? Florida's running out of options for her, I think. In all seriousness, this woman should do what narcissists cannot do, and that is self-reflection. The great Sarah Boone should ask herself if she would be happier representing herself. George Torres's family has been through enough pain and heartache because of her actions. She refused to take responsibility for her crimes, and she put them through the pain of a trial. And now she's looking to keep the blame game going and hoping to be victorious on appeal. Well, I hope she loses, I hope she remains in prison, and I hope that George Torres's children are doing okay and that they are continuing to heal. That is my opening statement this Tuesday. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
Be strong, baby. You can't hold on to this forever. Yeah, I know it takes time. It's not easy, but time heals too. Be strong, hun. At approximately 7:44 a.m., Matthew Paul writes, yes, thanks, hun. In life, there is a time for many things. Now is grieving time.
In Wisconsin, the defense case resumes this morning in the bad boyfriend murder trial for defendant Matthew Paul. This guy is accused of killing his longtime girlfriend, Stephanie Pavlons, and then hiding her body in the woods. We're going to see if this defendant wants to testify today. Court's going to start up in our next hour at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. In Tennessee, we've got jury selection continuing in the murder trial for Latasha Daniels. She's accused in the murder of a pastor and the attempted murder of his wife. And in Colorado, the state's case continues this morning in the father figure murder trial for Darren Threlkill. Now, he's accused of killing his girlfriend's 6-year-old son, Martin Osinski. Now, let's turn to your top story this morning. We've got brand new developments to share with you in the case of missing Melodee Buzzard. The Santa Barbara, California Sheriff's Office revealing a brand new route map and some brand new surveillance photos of Melodee's mom, Ashlee Buzzard. Come to your television set. Take a look at this. This is from that California rental car business back on October the 7th. And as you can see, both Melodee and Ashlee are wearing wigs on this same day. Why? Detectives confirmed that Ashlee left California with Melodee in a 2024 Chevrolet Malibu with California plates. Law enforcement believe that the two traveled as far as Nebraska with a return trip to Kansas. Detectives have now confirmed that Melodee was last seen along the return route via video surveillance on October the 9th in the region between the Colorado-Utah border. Okay, so now we know that on the 9th, she is still alive, thank God. The Sheriff's Office releasing this map. You see it here. The vehicle stops on or around the 9th in Green River, Utah, Panguitch, Utah, Northwest Arizona, Primm, Nevada, Rancho Cucamonga, California. With the new information being released, we're asking, could this possibly be a human trafficking case? Or could it be a homicide case? Or could it be something else? Let's bring in our very seasoned law enforcement experts. He's a retired police commander with the Nassau County, New York K-9 unit, Lieutenant Mike Gould, also the owner of Houndstown, USA, and a K-9 expert. Also, private investigator with Black Ops Private Investigators, Manuel Gomez, also served in the NYPD and in our military. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and thank you for being on the show. So I want to start with that photograph, because we've seen the photo of Melodee before wearing the wig, where she's got straighter hair. She's got that beautiful natural curly hair. And then now we're seeing Mom in the picture. And this morning I'm talking to my incredible line producer, Katie, and she's saying, wonder why they didn't show Mom before. And I said, you know what, Katie, that's gonna be the first question I ask our investigators. So why do you think the investigators didn't include both Mom and Melodee here in this picture for all of us to see? Lieutenant Gould, would you start off our conversation, please?
Yeah, sure, Julie. Thanks for having me. So regarding that first question, I think the media in this case, and in most cases, they kind of have to, the investigators, I should say, have to spoon feed the media. They can't give everything away. I think they know, obviously, a lot more than what they're telling us now, of course. Regarding the wigs, I mean, you suggested yesterday about human trafficking, and I kind of dismissed it as a mother would never do that. But after reflecting, I'm like the nosy neighbor that lives next door, and I started thinking a little bit more. I don't, in some regard, I don't even see the resemblance of Melodee in that photo. I'm not sure why these exaggerated wigs would be used. You can walk around with a COVID mask right now and a hoodie and hide your identity without as much suspicion as a big haired wig.
That's an excellent point, Lieutenant. And, you know, yesterday you and I continued our conversation off camera, which was great, you know, about Melodee. And to your point just now, the photos from the rental car place, you're right, you kind of look at it and go, is this the child we see in the other photograph? It looks like a school picture that's been circulating by the FBI and by the news media largely across the U.S. There it is. And I think that this must be years ago, because I'm looking at her teeth and I'm thinking they look like baby teeth to me. And so I'm thinking that this photo must be old. I don't know how many years old. We don't have the benefit of that information at Court TV. But Manuel Gomez, what say you about this comparison? Is this the same girl here?
I was a little bit skeptical, but I do agree with you. The picture to the right looks like a baby's teeth of about 5 years old. Okay, so I doubt that that picture was 2 years old. The picture to the left looks like a girl who was about maybe, 12. So it's kind of a little hard to determine what the year was, but it's definitely, like you said, an extremely baby picture. And the other thing is, Julie, but I have to agree with you. I believe this was a human trafficking case. And the reason why, Julie, is because she took a 27-hour drive, a one-way trip to drop off her daughter to two areas which have an infamous problem of human trafficking, which is Nebraska and Utah. So I am like 80% sure. But the problem I have, Julie, that bothers me the most is that what do you have to do in California to get arrested? You can have a body of a 14-year-old girl in the back of your Tesla and you don't get arrested. You can have your daughter not go to school for a year and tell the FBI and the police, I'm not going to answer where she is, and you still don't get arrested. What do you have to do? This is why I'm still offering a $10,000 reward for any information to this girl. Let me say that again, $10,000. I will pay it directly to anyone that is information that we can find this girl.
That's very generous of you, Manuel. Thank you. So it seems that the three of us here all have suspicions about trafficking, that mom might have taken her to another state for potentially that sinister purpose. So I want to add another set of facts in and see what you both think. So we know that when they left the rental car business, that car had a California plate. On October the 8th, so they left the rental business on the 7th, on the 8th, it had a New York license plate. The plate seen on the car does not belong to that vehicle, does not belong to Ashlee Buzzard. Investigators think it was a false plate, a switched out plate at some point to avoid detection, right? So then when the vehicle came back to the agency in California, 3 days later, the California plate was still on it. Mike Gould, what do you think about this?
Right. Well, this adds a really significant aspect to this, because this was clearly premeditated. She had to pack the plate before she left. I'm assuming that. I don't, unless she stole it along the route. But this is, as Manuel said, which I'm in total agreement, this was premeditated. And I'm a little more optimistic today than I was yesterday that there might be a co-conspirator somewhere where they're transporting this child or other children. Like I said, I'm not 100% convinced. Again, this picture was over 2 years old for certain. And I don't know why there's not more recent. I got 10,000 pictures of my grandchildren in my phone. So I don't know why there would be this lapse and why there's not a more current photo. But again, I have confidence in the FBI that they have more information, that they're spoon-feeding the media. They got to walk agreed with Manuel. There are child protective services that would charge this woman with child endangerment just by providing an unsafe environment. That's really all they need in California. The statute says that. And the child doesn't even have to be really in harm's way. You just have to be a bad decision maker as a parent, and you could be charged with child endangerment. So I think that the FBI is a little ahead of us on this. And as this, they're going to release more evidence. There's a motive to why they're not arresting her. I think they want to just surveil her, who she's contacting, where she's going, and I think that probably is what their investigative tactics are at the moment.
Yes, excellent points, Lieutenant. So we all here seem to be in agreement that there was some purpose that she took Melodee on this trip for, and we all are suspicious of trafficking, not necessarily of homicide. It seems that we're not thinking she left California to do a murder when she could do that back home. So dovetailing off of what Lieutenant Gould just said about suspicion with co-conspirators, Manuel, I want to go to you on this. Let's keep analyzing under this theory that perhaps she was taken to be trafficked. How would Melodee know where to take her? Must there be co-conspirators then, if that's the situation?
Yes, I agree with Mike. There's most likely co-conspirators. And the fact that she changed the plate, she's wearing wigs, she did a one-way trip, okay? It leans more towards trafficking, not a murder, okay? But remember, Julie, trafficking is a murder. You know why? Because at the end of the day, when they're done human trafficking you, 98% of the people get killed. Maybe 2% luckily escape. The problem is, like Mike said, she needs to be arrested for child endangerment. Julie, you and I have seen numerous cases where the parent doesn't discuss where the body is. Perfect example, Manuel Haro. The fact is, this woman is not going to talk. The only way you're going to loosen her tongue is to get her in jail and for a judge to force her to speak. This is the only way. The nice gloves have to be taken off, California. Let's get her in jail.
Preach, my friend, preach. I couldn't agree with you more, Manuel. I've been saying cuff her since they gave her that warning and never made good on it. Don't even get me started. Why bother if you're going to do that? Yeah, boy, great minds think alike, don't we? We're all in agreement on this segment. Throw the mom in jail and let's get this precious girl home. Manuel Gomez, we got to say goodbye to you. You got cases to work. Thank you so much for the great insight and expertise. Lieutenant Gould, thank you as well. You're coming with us. Friends at home, stay right there. Here's what's coming up.
Female's detained. I need medics. 1018. Hey, who all was out here when it happened?
And then she started banging so hard, everything started shaking.
Points at the door, fires one shot.
And then she goes, I'm gonna kill you. And she's just banging away.
She shot through that door for self-defense.
I panicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's really gonna kill me this time.
Oh, the perfect neighbor, Susan Lawrence, now threatening to legally go after the children of the woman that she killed. But first, a former news anchor charged with murdering her own mother. We're asking, how does she go from reporting the news to being the news this morning?
The Court TV podcast will return.
Welcome back. A former news anchor finds herself in the news this morning after she was charged with the murder of her mother.
I remember my mom would put it in one of these cans like you suggested and just put it in and it would cool and then she'd throw it away.
Exactly.
And you said from 8 to 5 they can come pick this up?
They can come and pick those up.
All right, so that was Angeline Mock on the air. A little look back in time. Well, this is her the other day when her mugshot was taken. She's being held on $1 million bond and accused of first-degree murder. Her 80-year-old mother, Anita Avers, was found unresponsive with multiple stab wounds at her home on Friday. Avers was later pronounced dead at a local hospital, and police say that Angeline Mock was at the scene outside of her mother's home, just feet away from where her mom was located in her bed. Now, according to her LinkedIn profile, Mock worked as a reporter at the local Fox station in St. Louis from the years 2011 to 2015, rather. No motivation for the crime has been cited by investigators as of this morning. Now, as the investigation continues, we're asking, how did this woman go from reporting the news to making the news? Let's bring in our power panel. Still with me, Lieutenant Mike Gould. Want to welcome in attorneys Melba Pearson and Joe Tamburino. Melba, would you start us off, please? Your thoughts on this woman?
Well, good morning, Julie and my fellow panelists. Yeah, this is definitely really disturbing because this is something I'm sure no one saw coming. This to me almost speaks like that she snapped, literally snapped, because of the level of violence when you're seeing that her mother was stabbed and so many times. I'm very curious to know if there was any domestic violence in the household, just in terms of elder abuse, or was maybe the mother sick and she was the primary caretaker and she just did not know how to handle it. I mean, there's just so many questions that I have here, but just a horrible, horrible tragedy all around.
Yeah, it really is, Melba. Joe Tamburino, what do you think hearing this, please?
Good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I would agree. Something obviously went on. What I'm wondering is two things. Number one, what's her mental health history? And, basically, could she be trying to use her mental health as a defense? And number two, what exactly did she say after this? Because some reports say that she killed her mother because supposedly she was trying to save herself. Because as, you and I know from covering these cases with a, mental illness defense, it's really important to know what did the defendant say right afterwards, because that goes to their state of mind. So, when she said she did this to save herself, what was she thinking at the time? But I would start out with seeing what was her mental health history.
That's a great question, Joe. Yeah, I want to talk to you more about that potentially being a defense here. Lieutenant Gould, your take on this. This woman is described as a veteran broadcast journalist on her LinkedIn profile with 12 years of experience. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Julie, for having me. Yeah, I agree with both co-hosts or commentators, I should say. This matricide is very rare. Matricide takes place in about 4%, 3% of all homicides. When a daughter kills her mother, that's even less. So 90% of matricides are committed by men. So this was unusual. I think this is going to really boil down to schizophrenia, some type of delusional episode. I know there was not a lot of history on her mental health, but I think this is just going to boil down to insanity defense, where she just snapped, as Melba said, and stabbing a mother. It's very emotional, very intimate. And so I think that's going to be at the core of this whole thing. And it's a little premature at the moment to speculate further on that.
Right. You made some really great points just now. I want to explore these further. So matricide, the killing of one's mother. And you said typically, Lieutenant, you said typically it's men who do this, sons who would kill their mother if we have this kind of situation, not a daughter. So that right there kind of strikes you as odd.
Yeah, completely. You know, it's happened. We know the Mendez brothers killed their parents. We know back here on Long Island, the Amityville Horror, Ron DeFeo killed his entire family. So you will find these things happening. Unlikely or unusual is parents will kill their children before their parents, which is very odd to me. A mother will kill their, as we talked in other segments. So yeah, I find this odd. I really can't think it. And it's always usually this mental breakdown where they think they're putting somebody out of their misery or something like that. So I think it's going to be schizophrenia, psychosis, mental breakdown.
Something like that. Yeah, let's explore that further. So Joe Tamburino, you touched on this a little bit. Talk to us, please, about the next steps for Angelyn Mock as she's in the jail. What needs to happen with her, and then how might this defense progress?
Well, two things I think will happen. First, the defense will raise some type of insanity defense and get her an evaluation. And then the court, probably through the prosecutor's request, is going to get another evaluation, because when you raise insanity in most states, the defense has a right to get an evaluation, and so does the state. I mean, the courts will order it because you've got to see from both sides where this person is. But getting back to, what she said right after the alleged incident, as we know, it's so important to see what a defendant said right after whatever they did happened. Why? Because it gives a window into their state of mind. In so many of these insanity cases, people will say things that really look like they knew what they were doing. However, in some cases, and they're outliers, they'll commit a murder and then they'll say, they just killed the devil, they just killed a demon, or they just saved themselves, something like that. And, it's already come out that she said supposedly she had to save herself with this. So I'd like to hear more about what did she exactly say.
Yeah, that's a really great question. Joe, thanks. Melba, would you bring us home on this, please? Along the lines of what defenses may be available to this woman, tell us what else you're thinking when it comes to the evaluation and next procedural steps for Ms. Mock.
Well, my first thought is whether or not she's even capable of standing trial. Does she understand the charges that are against her? So we definitely would need an evaluation in terms of competency to even move forward in this process. Or will she have a situation where she will need to go into treatment to restore her basically to competency so that she can fully participate in a defense of this case? Tell the prosecutor, tell her defense attorney what she's dealing with, and the defense attorney can then follow up with medical records and all of that. But the defendant has to be able to participate in their defense. And so that is the first step to me before anything else.
That's a great point, Melba. Competency. Yeah, I suppose we'll see what happens at her next court appearance. We will be there and be following this case very closely. Great discussion. Thank you all for the insights. Our legal eagles are coming with us. Lieutenant Gold, our law enforcement expert, we're going to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for your time and expertise this morning. When we come back, here's what's next on Opening Statements.
Susan hasn't shown remorse for shooting Ashika. She has not shown remorse for killing Ashika.
She has not shown remorse for leaving 4 children motherless.
Yeah, that's all true. And now, guess what? Susan Lawrence is threatening legal action against the victim's children. That's next. Plus, Jake Haru sentenced in the murder of his 7-month-old baby, Emmanuel. But what about the baby's mom and his wife, Rebecca? Is she going to start talking? What's going to happen with her? Is she going to trial? That's coming up in What's Tipping the Scales.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Females detained. I need medics. 1018. Hey, who all was out here when it happened?
When she started banging so hard, everything started shaking.
Points at the door, fires 1 shot.
And then she said, I'm gonna kill you. And she's just banging away.
She shot through that door for self-defense.
I panicked. And I was like, oh my God, she's really gonna kill me this time.
In our spotlight this morning, the Florida woman convicted of shooting and killing her neighbor says that she intends to sue the victim's family. Susan Lawrence was found guilty of manslaughter after she shot Ajika Owens through her locked door in 2023. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison and maintains that she was being harassed by Owens and her children. Here, she's being interrogated by deputies after the shooting.
I just remember being terrified that she was banging and screaming, and I just remember hearing her say, I'm going to kill you. I was in fear for my life. I mean, honest to God, I just feared that she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, that's how I felt. I can't change the way I felt. I mean, it was sheer terror on my part. I mean, honest to God, I was shaking.
So fast forward to now, Ajika Owens' mother has a wrongful death lawsuit pending against Susan Lawrence. So apparently, in response, in a handwritten letter, Lawrence says she wants to countersue for slander, libel, and defamation of character. And she says she wants to sue Ajika Owens' mom, her minor children, and her landlord. I think this woman needs to go have a seat somewhere. Let's talk about it. Let's bring in our legal eagles, attorneys Melba Pearson and Joe Tamburino on the show. First, let's start with your reactions to this woman and what she's saying she intends to do next. Melba.
You already know.
Blood's boiling, right? Mine too.
Yes, I have very strong feelings about this case because I remember when it happened. I live here in Florida. I was involved in trying to help the family get justice for A.J. Owens, who should be here today. She was murdered in cold blood in front of her children. And this person dares to want to countersue and continue to traumatize this family. I mean, that just shows you the depths of depravity and evil that this person is. And oh, by the way, truth is an absolute defense to defamation, slander, and libel. So the fact of the matter is she harassed this family. The defendant did, not A.J. Owens, but this woman had a history of harassing children, harassing this particular family, and she is still trying to harass them even after A.J. Owens has met her maker. At her hand. It is just utterly disgusting, and she needs to have several seats somewhere and just never come back again.
Yes, several seats, exactly, Melba. And you're right, truth is a defense to defamation. So these kids, A.J. Owens, her mom, all speaking the truth. If you watch the documentary, you know what we're saying here. I encourage you to watch it if you haven't seen it. It's on Netflix. And we have a little clip of the trailer. Let's take a look at that. Here's a little sample of it right now.
Sheriff's office.
I called because the kids from across the street, they shouldn't be screaming and running around.
Okay.
All the kids like to play. Sharon said they can't walk or even throw their football over here.
Okay, little sample of it. Big history history here. We broadcasted the trial, but the documentary gave us the benefit of all of that body camera footage from years prior that wasn't in the trial, that wasn't able to come in. Too many of those instances where we can see what this woman was doing. Joe, I want to read to you a little more that she put in this letter and get your reaction. She says that Ajika Owens and her children were trespassing. There were multiple no trespassing signs on the property. Ms. Owens did in fact scream, threatened to beat me multiple times while trespassing. Ms. Owens was instructed to stay off the property along with her children by the county sheriff's department. And let's be real clear here. None of that property even belonged to Susan Lawrence. It was a field next door where kids would play, doing what kids do. Joe, your response to Ms. Lawrence's threat?
Well, I think this is going to be completely dismissed because it's outrageous, but there's also a great legal reason why it's going to get dismissed, and that's the following. In all states, I don't know of one state where that's different. You cannot sue for defamation on the basis of what's said in court or what's said in a legal process, including depositions. Why? Because the legal system wants to encourage people to tell the truth or to tell their position regardless of what the outcome could be. So when you're in a deposition or you're in a trial and you say, Bill Jones is a lying sack, or he's the devil himself, or he's a pedophile, or whatever it is, you can't be sued for that. So there's an automatic privilege there in every state. And she's saying that these kids, these people defamed her when they testified and in their depositions. So legally, she's got no case. And then when you get to the trespass issue, look at two things. Number one is, what is the civil statute of limitations in Florida for civil trespass? I'm sure it's not years and years, so it might be barred by that. And second is, you have to establish who owns the property. And as you have just stated, Julie, she didn't own that property when she was complaining about these kids playing. So I think this is just going to get tossed.
Right. Oh, I love your analysis, Joe. Thank you for that. I want to take a look at this clip. This is after the verdict, so we're going back in time just a little bit. A.J. Owens' mother is caring for the children. And let's take a listen to some of what she shared after the verdict.
Please continue to keep the family and especially Ajika's 4 children in your prayers. Thank you.
The children are coping the best that they can. Certainly the loss of their mom lingers every single day. They are seeking counseling, and so we ask everyone to keep the children in your prayers, because right now they need the whole community to be behind them.
And that's what we want to do here. We want to end on the note where we're thinking of those beautiful children. One of them witnessed this. One of them witnessed the killing of their mother. Melba, I want to go to you for last words here. Tell us your thoughts about these 4 beautiful children. You see them all through the documentary. And now having their mother so brutally taken away from them. What must that be like for them? Would you speak to the trauma these children are going to have to endure now and then into their adulthood?
Well, Julie, just to almost set the stage on this, one of the older children actually expressed feeling guilt in terms of telling their mom that they were having, and that this woman, Susan Lawrence, was, being abusive towards them, because he felt that if he hadn't told his mom would still be here. So imagine being an 11, 12-year-old child feeling responsible for your mother's murder and having to carry that with you. Even though, yes, you can unpack that in therapy and all of that, but just to your core, feeling that you may have had a hand in your mother no longer being with you. And these children who now, for the rest of their lives, have to deal with the violent way that their mother was ripped from them, and the trial and the publicity, and now even the Netflix series. While wonderful that the story's out there, it's still another reminder of the pain that they're dealing with every day. So yeah, I fully agree that we need to continue to keep these poor children in our thoughts and to continue to say the name Ajika Owens, because she should be here with us today.
You're so right, Melba. Beautifully said. Thank you for that. We'll leave it here for now. When we come back, we're going to turn to California and the mounting pressure against mother Rebecca Haro as her husband is sentenced for the murder of the baby that she shares with him, little baby Emmanuel. Will the baby ever be brought home?
This is the Court TV podcast.
Fact that Mr. Haro pled guilty at an early stage, while not insignificant, cannot overcome the horrific nature of the circumstances here. Given the admissions Mr. Haro himself has made with respect to the aggravating factors, accordingly, I will impose the indeterminate term of 25 years to life.
Now for what's tipping the scales of justice in the case of baby Emmanuel Haro. His father, Jake Haro, tearfully pleading guilty to his murder. And now, finally, had to face the music late Monday at sentencing. It was an emotional day in the courtroom. Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson reports.
Julie, good morning. In a last-minute decision, Rebecca Haro's mother, Mary, stood up and addressed the court, delivering a powerful and emotional victim impact statement.
I talked with him about, as a friend, to tell me everything. Because he didn't give me the opportunity to meet my grandson. He destroyed my whole family. He branded his children for life. He damaged her children, all his children for life. And in doing that, he destroyed my family, my children, everybody in my family. All my children are destroyed by this.
Jake Haro refusing to look at his mother-in-law. She called him an abuser and baby killer. The convicted killer looked down and sat quietly in a Southern California courtroom on Monday as he was sentenced for the murder of 7-month-old baby Emmanuel. The gallery full of investigators, journalists, and women wearing blue shirts with the baby's picture on them. The same group who helped build the growing memorial outside of baby Emmanuel's home in Cabazon.
Well, nobody's here for the baby. We're all, the women that you see here, over there, right here, we're the women that are here for the babies, being his voice.
And Jake Haro never addressed the court before his sentencing here in Riverside, California. It's unclear if he's going to be working with investigators to locate the baby's body or help prosecutors in the prosecution of his wife next year. That's the very latest from the Riverside County Hall of Justice. I'll send it back to you, Julie.
Our thanks to Matt Johnson for that report. Jake Haro was sentenced to spend 25 years to life in prison for killing his son. So what about the baby's mom, Rebecca, Jake's wife? She's pleaded not guilty to the charges. So it makes us wonder, is she heading to trial? And will the baby's remains ever be located? Let's talk about these things. Let's bring back in our legal eagles, attorneys Joe Tamburino and Melba Pearson. Joe, let me begin with you, please. Let's first tackle the question of Rebecca Haro. What do you expect to happen with her now?
Well, I'm quite surprised that she's not tried to work out some deal because what we know from Jake Haro, I mean, he admitted he got sentenced. He's got a prior record. I mean, a lot of things in this case surprised me. For instance, you know, why didn't Mr. Haro tell the court or the prosecution where the body is? Perhaps he could have gotten some type of a lighter sentence. And now that he's been sentenced and jeopardy has attached, is he going to be available as a witness for the state in Rebecca's trial or for Rebecca? And if she goes to trial, what's her defense? Is she going to say something like battered wife or she didn't know about it? I mean, a lot of this is puzzling, but I am surprised that she hasn't tried to work out some type of deal.
Right. I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you because it always seemed to me, and again, this is just me, I felt that Jake Haro was manipulating her. I just got that sense that she might have been trapped in an abusive relationship, not excusing her not protecting the child as best that she could. But to me, I thought if anybody's going to be getting something here, it's going to be her. Well, now I'm wondering, Melba, because the DA's office made it clear that they gave Jake Haro no deal. This was just a straight-up plea to the indictment, no offers, threw himself at the mercy of the court for that sentence. Tell me, Melba, do you think now that he resolved his case. Is she not useful to the DA's office? What do you say?
Yeah, I don't think she's necessarily useful to the DA's office from that perspective, but the question is still going to be, where is the baby's remains? Where is the baby? And she may know the answer to that question. So they being the DA's office, may be holding out to hear like, hey, if you say something, we'll work something out with you. But if you continue to basically, not give the critical information to bring this poor child home and lay him to rest properly, then they're going to proceed with the prosecution. But I too share your feelings, Julie. That black eye when she was giving the statement really sits with me, and she may be just staying quiet because she's still in that throes of an abusive relationship and is afraid to speak out against her abuser. That is also a possibility. So it's all very, very concerning and disturbing, to say the least.
Yes, sure is. There's the picture of that black eye that you mentioned, Melba, and this was when they were pleading for the public's help, and she said she sustained it in this attack that resulted in the baby's kidnapping, and we know that was not true. And what we do know is true is that Jake Haro is a child beater. He's a baby beater. He beat his daughter first to another woman. That child is permanently disabled because of him. In my opinion, he should not have been out on bond. And now here we have baby Emmanuel dead after multiple instances of assaults, according to what police and prosecutors have shared. So dovetailing off of what you said, Melba, too, about where is this baby? Are we ever going to find his remains? Joe, we saw Jake Haro taken out of the jail. We saw him in his jail jumpsuit with police early on before he decided to change his plea. And we all thought, oh, okay, he's cooperating. Could it be possible that he did lead police to the location where the baby was left, but that perhaps something else intervened in the meantime, an animal, something, and maybe we'll never find the baby? What do you think?
I think it would be quite difficult, especially in today's world with all the media and, it's pervasive, for them to have found this body and it hasn't leaked out in this type of a case. I mean, it's quite possible. Maybe he did tell them, but I just find it unlikely. I think if he told them where the body was, we would know it by now. And I'm surprised that he didn't. And, who knows? I mean, if they both did this murder together, maybe there's evidence that she disposed of the body and he truly doesn't know where it is. I mean, we'll find out if Ms. Haro goes to trial on this.
Ooh, that's good, Joe. Maybe he's protecting her. I never thought of that, because we saw in that video there where he does take them someplace, presumably to identify the body and bring the remains back home. But yeah, maybe that was just a way of throwing them off course, and then he pleads and doesn't have to say a word. Gosh, just awful. Well, her case has been postponed till January, so we've got some time to see if she pleads or decides to take it to trial. We've got to leave it there for now. Great discussion with you both, as always. Big thanks to our wonderful legal eagles, Melba Pearson and Joe Tamburino. We'll see you soon. And big thanks to you friends at home for being with us. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements. We'll have another one for you tomorrow morning, same time. You can watch the show again if you want. Just go to courttv.com.
That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.